Okay, from this point on, the video should be there. Hopefully, I do not fuck it up twice, and it should be just fine. So we're gonna be continuing from this point on. So this is where the ice dragons were fighting. Heather grins and he soars into the sky. Kate Dragon follows him. In the meantime, he starts building a cage of ice around herself, which she uses to raise herself into the air in order to get a better view of the fight. The two dragons are driving at each other and fighting with both claws and their fangs. Kate's reinforced ice seemed to be holding up rather well against Hadrick's attack. I'm quite sure that Teorath would have sliced through her ice dragon as through butter. I guess his King of All Dragons title was just not for show after all. Kate is now ramping up her attacks by also shooting Hadrick with hundreds of icicles, while her ice dragon is still on his tails. Every time that Hadrick tries to go for Kate, she moves her cage out of his way, sends her ice dragon to intercept him. Some of the icicles hit the black dragon in his left wing, and he starts to fall from the sky. As the ice dragon takes full advantage of the opportunity and dives right onto its opponent, the two dragons crash onto the ground, and with the ice one on top pinning the black one into place with his claw, it is now slowly descending as well. Still in her ice cage, she looks at Hadrick, waiting for his next move. Okay, I give up, you win, Hadrick says. He transforms back into dwarf form. Upon hearing his word, Kate brings her cage back down, and once she's safely on the ground, she dismisses both the cage and the dragon. Does it mean that you'll grant me my request? Kate says with a hopeful look in his eyes. Well, I can't say that I'm really looking forward to it, but the deal is a deal. Pack your bags, Kate. I'm going to lead you to your friend. Thank you so much, Kate says. I have a lot of money with me. I promise I will make it worth your while. What are you talking about? Hadrick says. Didn't I said that we have a deal? Didn't I? I already said we have a deal, didn't I? There's no need for you to pay me anything. Now hurry up and get your backpack. It'll be a lot harder to find our way through the forest once it gets dark. I mean, the days in this world are too fucking long, honestly. Of course, Kate says. I'll be right back. My friends, Azarius tells us as Kate hurries past him to get her backpack. It has been a great privilege to meet you all, but I'm afraid we must take our departure as well. Only have one question before we leave. I couldn't help but notice that the four of you seem to have been acquainted with the young Stillwater from even before he teleported us all to this clearing. Would you by any chance know any information that could prove useful if we were to have to face him in battle? Give him a vague answer that doesn't tell him anything useful. Now this is an important one. We don't really know anything much about him. I don't think we actually know any of his weaknesses, but I don't know. I mean, we have to fight him eventually, but fuck. This guy is very dangerous. Not this guy. The fucking Aiden is dangerous, but the problem is with him, like, he does help us because he finds us fun. So I can never really tell what should I do with him. I don't know if giving out information is a good thing, but none of our colleagues seem to be chipping into this, but I have to answer this. So if I tell him everything I know, it's not really going to help him too much. But we have to kill him at some point. So if you tell him, maybe he both can damage each other when we can kill one of them and then move on to winning the competition. That's my train of thought, so I'm gonna go with that. Tell him everything I know. We don't really know much about him, really, since we only just met him this morning. I tell him, from what I could tell, he has a ridiculous amount of magical power and can use multiple types of elemental magic. He also seemed to be able to completely ignore the traditional laws of magic. When we first met him, he just bypassed all of Darren's magical protection and put him to sleep with a single wave of his hand. Oh, and one more thing, he appears to be virtually undetectable when he turns invisible. I couldn't even sense a hint of his magical aura when he was hiding his presence. Oh shit, I just realized he might be listening in. Interesting, Azarius says as he smashes his staff into the ground. I feel a wave of air hit me. Well, unless he also found a way to completely eliminate his physical presence from this plane, we can rest assured that he at least isn't listening in our conversation right now. And he used a sonar spell to detect all objects present in the area. We are the only mages in this clearing. I also have another question for you. Do you know if he has any enemies here on this continent? Yes, he does. Tara the dragon, I fought him in the sky a few hours ago, was looking especially for Aiden and wanting him dead. I believe he's made an enemy of the Lesethi as well. He told us to deliver a message to any ancients we find and tell them to remember the Stillwinter. Given what I've heard you say about the Stillwinter earlier, I can only assume that it's meant as a threat. I see, the old sage says as he strokes his beard. This could prove to be invaluable information if we are ever to make an enemy of him ourselves. Stillwater said earlier that he hasn't participated in the tournament, but it never hurts to be too careful. Thank you for sharing this with me. You're welcome, I tell him. Master Azirius, the mage's pupil says as he approaches, holding a map in his hands. Azirius, the mage says, just call me Azirius. Yes, Master Azirius, the sage sighs. Tell me, Henry, what is it? I noticed that there is an unusually large concentration of magic around this area, Henry says by pointing at the lower side of the map. Perhaps it could be what we are looking for. Perhaps. Azirius says, at any rate, it's not too far from here, so I suppose we could make it there before it gets too dark to see anything. Mark the location on the map. Understood. As Kate comes back with a backpack, Azirius turns to us. Goodbye, my friends, and he says, I wish you all safe travels, and I hope we will meet again. Goodbye, Azirius. Goodbye, Henry. Rose says as we all wave to them. I'm sure that our paths will cross again someday. Henry looks back towards us with a surprised expression on his face. He probably isn't used to people acknowledging his existence as he travels towards the sage of the west. He nods curtly to Rose, then hurries to catch up with Azirius as they both slowly distance themselves from us and disappear into the depths of the forest. Well, Kate says, I suppose I should get going too. Darren, Rose and I all turn to look at her simultaneously. I guess this is goodbye, she says. Why are we goodbying? I thought we were gonna go with her and help out or something. She says, we've had our ups and downs, but I'm really glad that I got to spend this short time with you. Thank you very much for the patience you've shown me. She then takes a deep bow and prepares to take her leave. Kate, what are you saying all of a sudden? Rose asks her, you do realize we're coming with you, right? We are? Darren starts to say, but I hit him in the side of with my elbow. I mean, of course we are, naturally. But Kate says, shocked. No, Rose, you can't. What about all the sick people waiting for you in your hometown? Oh, you don't need to worry about that. With all the shortcuts we have taken so far, I'm days ahead of my original schedule. I would have never had the courage to take such a direct route if I hadn't been there to escort me. Accompanying you on your way to meet your friends is the least I can do to pay you back. Besides, Hardrick said that the camp we are headed for isn't that far from here. Isn't that right, Hardrick? Aye, Hardrick answered. It is true. There you see, Rose says, smiling. Everything works out just fine. But I couldn't, starts to say, but Hardrick interrupts her. It's settled then, he says loudly, immediately drowning out the sound of Kate's voice. We're all going to see Kate's friend. Now come on, follow me. I'm going to try and take shortcuts. With these final words, we all grab our backpacks, hurry up to follow Hardrick and Kate. They stand there for a few moments, unsure what to do, but then she decides to follow him too. Before long, she starts walking side by side with us again, as if our previous discussions never even took place. Why does it keep telling me this shit? Like every single time I sit down to record, it's like, oh, swipe up to unpin the app. I mean, do you think I'm a dumbass that I would pin an app without knowing how to unpin an app? Man, this phone is so fucking good. The hardware is so good, but the software sucks ballsack sometimes. I hate it sometimes. Even like when I'm playing games, it keeps unpinning because the fucking slide up thing, so I can't like pin like Call of Duty or something and like play that because it will unpin halfway through the fucking game. So that's just fucking annoying, honestly. Let's see what else we have. Side by side again. In our previous discussion, never even took place. Okay. We walk in a complete silence for a few minutes. Kate has always been the silent type, so I'm not really surprised about her, but I don't think I've ever seen Darren go for more than a minute without opening his mouth. He might still be in shock after what he's heard about the beacon. He's probably still have a hard time internalizing the information, given how adamantly he's been holding on to the opinion that Kate was a banshee until now. Well, you guys sure are a quiet bunch, Hardrick says, after a few more minutes of awkward silence. Fine, I'll break the ice. Come on, ask me anything. Why did you rush to defend Kate earlier in the clearing? How did you and Kate's friend meet? Do all dwarves really have ale running through their veins? He's not a dwarf, so that's out of the picture. How did defend Kate? I'm guessing he's gonna say she's a lady or some stupid shit like that. I'm gonna go with this. How did you and Kate's friend meet? We met by chance this morning while I was searching for a powerful opponent to fight. I mistook her for a banshee. I was excited at the prospect of having a one-on-one battle with one-on-one battle with such a strong challenge. Unfortunately for me, she proved to be a bit too powerful. She neutralized me with a single spell. Her friends in the blue robes ordered her to finish me off, but she refused to do it. They eventually stopped trying to reason with her and told her to just make sure I don't stand in their way anymore. She defied the ancients? Kate asked, surprised. Aye, Hardrick says. When I realized that she was actually serious about sparing my life, I asked her if she was really a banshee, and that's when she told me all about the beacons of hope and about the artificial mages. Could you tell us why you like fighting so much? Rose asked him. Why does a bird flap its wings? Hadrick says. Why does a snake slither on the ground? I enjoy fighting because it is in my blood. My father was a warrior, his father before him. It goes the same for all the members of my clan. Mahad Silak, I tell Hadrick. Mahad Maktar, what the fuck is this? He answers me without thinking. Oh, he said he got him in the trap, because I'm guessing Mahad Salak is something that giants say, not dwarfs. Hadrick then realizes the trap I've laid for him and starts laughing loudly. You got me, Barry, he says. Well played. I'm sorry, I do not understand, Rose says. Glory in life, glory in death. I translate to her. Many of the giants of the northern continent live and die by this credo, and some of the clans even use this as a salute between members. I heard about it once in a book that described the races and the culture of the northern continent. But what if a dwarf like Hadrick know this credo? Rose asked, still confused. It's because he isn't actually a dwarf. He's a giant shape-shifting as one. What? Darren asks, utterly shocked. That's some really impressive deductive skill there, Barry, Hadrick tells me. How did you figure it out? Well, ever since I saw you in the clearing, I could tell by your magical aura that you were already shape-shifting, but shape-shifting magic can only be used to modify your size or to transform yourself into another creature. You cannot use it to disguise yourself as someone else. So I figured that you needed to have some sort of reason to make yourself seem smaller than you really actually were. It was then I remembered that your giant form from when you first called out to us, naturally it should be impossible for someone to transform themselves into a giant, because it would break the law of shape-shifting. That makes me realize it must have been the other way around, that the giant form was actually original form. Hadrick laughs again. Well, you found out one of my secrets, he says. What are you going to do now? Will you report me to the organizers so they would kick me out of the tournament? Are you going to use this information to blackmail me into helping you with the objectives? What? I ask him. No, don't be ridiculous. If I did any of that, then what were to stop you from reporting me for having joined this mage tournament as an ordinary human? The reality is that organizers really just don't care. They don't even bother to do some minimal screening of the contestants. Let hundreds of ordinary people like me join this tournament without even considering the implication. What would they care if they also let in a giant or two? I think you may be right, Hadrick says. Well, I guess that's enough questions for now. If you go on like this, I may well end up giving away my home address. Well, that's a good one. As we advance through the forest, we start seeing some bright yellow lights circling on the trees. What are these, I wonder? I ask as I point towards one of the yellow lights. Overgrown fireflies? Oh, Rose says, oh no, this isn't good. We need to get out of this place as fast as possible. Why? I ask her, what's wrong? Those aren't fireflies, they're spirits of the forest. We must have entered the sacred woods by accident. We're not allowed to be here. What are the sacred woods? Not allowed by whom? What are the spirits of the forest? Well, I'm guessing by them. What are the spirits of the forest? The guardians, Rose tell me, sworn to protect both the animals in the forest, keep them from harm. And who exactly decided that we are not allowed passage through these woods? The great golden fox. Please, there's no time to talk. We need to get out of here before it's too late. Kate? We hear a woman's voice coming from behind a tree. Kate, is that you? As the woman who appears to be Kate's friend reveals herself, we see that she is rather muscular physique. Although it doesn't by any means make her look unattractive. She has blue eyes, short blonde hair that's standing up on her head, likely as a side effect of her electric powers. She's wearing tight leather pants and a grey tank top shirt. While her age seems to be close to that of Kate, she also has a burn scar on her left arm, which is likely a souvenir from a hard-fought battle. Kate says, unable to contain her joy. I can't believe it's really you. You don't know how long I've been trying to find you, idiot. Diane shouts immediately, silencing Kate. Why did you come back? You aren't supposed to be here. Diane, listen to me. I came back here to save you. I came back here to take you away from this place. I don't need to be saved, Diane says as she points at her neck. In order to show Kate that she is no longer wearing a collar, I'm working with them of my own free will. What? But why? I don't understand. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you need to get out of here quick. Get out of here quick before the ancients come back, and please stop looking for me, please. No, Kate shouts. I'm not leaving here without you. Yes, you are. Diane says as her eyes start glowing bright. Electrical currents start forming around her. Kate, maybe we should retreat for now, I tell her as I start to feel the hair on my skin stand up from the static electricity around me. No, Kate says. If she doesn't plan to see reason until I beat some sense into her stupid head, then I'll... Here Kate gets to finish her sentence. There's a sudden powerful surge of electricity in the air around us. It shocks us all violently, that makes us fall to the ground in unison. Out of the five of us, I appear to be the only one who still maintains his consciousness, although I can barely move. Why did we maintain our consciousness? Also, the only way to block... because Kate is an ice mage, the only way she has to block an electric attack, will she have to form an ice made of distilled water. because distilled water would not conduct electricity. So that's the only way she can fight a electric mage. As I look towards Diane, I can see two men in dark blue robes to approach from behind her. They're both wearing their hoods, so I can't see their faces clearly. What's going on here? Asks the man on the right. More intruders? Look, says the one on the left. One of them is a dwarf she refused to kill this afternoon. He's brought friends with him this time. He turns to Diane. Well, what are you waiting for? Finish them off.